all I care about is going racing. Like, I'm okay if like something's a little effed up. It doesn't really bother me. If we had to duct tape that door on to go race, whatever. But not jammer. It's like, this whole process has been a dry day up a wall, to be completely honest with you. This is what's happening. We knew that we wanted to do something to Charlie this winter, but we couldn't do anything until after we got done with PRI because it had to sit there and look like Charlie. We went through a lot of scenarios of how to do this. You know, at the end of the day, the biggest reason is Charlie's heavy, so it's 3,100 pounds with me sitting in it. The fastest it's 60 footed on a 28-10 fob at that weight on no prep is like 115. So for what it weighs, it really gets down. But it's a great thing to say, but we want to win, right? And Charlie won a little bit last year, but not near as much as what we expect ourselves to do. And we can't just complain that the car's too heavy and then do nothing about it. So the biggest problem with doing this is Charlie Brown is literally unreplaceable, right? Like, I really don't feel like that about a lot of cars. If you call here, I'll probably tell you to just start over and build a new one. And that's where Jay's going to start twitching, because that's really what should happen. We should just build another one. That would be the easiest thing. But as you can see, Ricky's going to lay this clip in of our buddy Playboy that came up at PRI. He's the one that got Charlie Brown out of lockup.
My cousin Herm picked this car up through the Fed auction about, man, give or take, I'm gonna say it was 15 years ago or so, 14 years ago. It was a full interior, badass, sleeper street car. He street raced it forever. We would go everywhere with it. We would run it, like the COT stuff, all the local Chicago stuff. We did a lot of Chicago street shootouts. And it's just an awesome thing to see these guys doing what they're doing, to see the car alive. A lot of old cars go to die. You know what I'm saying? The car bounced, it went from Herm to my guy Jim to 10 different people, and to see it bounce around, see it to come around, especially some dope guys that do dope work like this, end up with it, you know what I'm saying? Like the car, you guys see the door panels they still got in it? It used to have, they said they still have the dash, it had a stitch dash, it had a custom back seat. All this was all custom done. It was all done from the dude that did it. It came from the Fed auction with these door panels, with, like you said, you guys had the seat, it has the stitch dash. It was a nice car, you know what I'm saying? But it was fast. It was originally a 434 small block nitrous car.
So it's always been a nitrous car.
Always been a nitrous car.
So we can never change it from a nitrous car.
It was gonna get turned over to a Pro Charge car in the process, but it never happened.
Okay.
It's been a nitrous car, and it's cool to see it still a nitrous car. The car, like I said, the car's been passed around, but it's cool to see it end up where it's at, and the work you guys do is amazing. So
did it have a cage in it when you bought it?
It just had a bar, like a small 6-point cage in it.
Okay.
It didn't have obviously nothing like what you guys did to it. But this thing is working. It's badass and fast as fuck. I've been watching it. You guys are doing awesome with it.
So the conversation always is, what makes the car the car? Is it the body? Is it the chassis? Drop that in the comments. What do you think? Is it the VIN tag that goes along with it? Like, if you wad one up but the chassis is good and you're going to hang a new body on it, is it the same car? Or maybe you cut the whole chassis out of the car and, you know, keep the body and brand new chassis. Is that the car? That's kind of where we were at with Charlie. Brad had found another 4-door. We talked about just building a new one. Not even telling you guys, just we're just gonna get it painted the same, and yeah, we were like, but then you don't get to follow along with us, and you know, the journey of Charlie. You don't get to be a part of that, which that's not really the right move. The back of the car is already pretty nice because he did that. You know, you saw a build series of us do that. We just have kind of redone the front. You can see all the black bars. All these tubes were basically in this thing. Brad redid this like front cradle here and the front suspension, and all that's working really good. The car does have a factory firewall in it, so the engine location of the car for what we're doing is not that great. I do like that it's stock style front suspension and it has a factory firewall in it, just because that makes the car like really versatile. We can race really pretty much any class that we want. But it does, it would work way better with a strut and with, the engine moved back 10 inches. And then underneath of this thing, so, and I'll actually, since Jay's already annoyed with me, I'll take the blame for why the car is the way it is. When we got the car, Jay and Brad wanted to cut the whole thing out of it and start over. They wanted to cut the whole cage out of it. So it had an 850 cert in it when we got the car, and it had like all this tin work that you see under, like all these floor pans and stuff. That was all already done. All this black tubing that you see in here was already underneath this thing. And the cage didn't fit that great. But we wanted to go racing, so we just updated it as much as we thought we needed to. And at the time, really front side no prep. If you went, when we started this deal a few years ago, like 490s on the front side of a racetrack was really fast. And we're like, man, we have a car that we know we can go faster than that with. So let's just get it out and start racing it. Well, it's obviously evolved a lot, and this thing this year, just to tell you, like it went mid fours on front side no prep. It's fast, but it's 3,100 pounds. So the underside of this thing, this is still all, you still have a complete factory frame rail that goes back to here, and we lopped this off when we back halved it, and then this stuff connects into these frame rails everywhere, and then this is obviously all steel, this is obviously all steel, so we really wanted to get rid of all that. Well, that kind of leads me to this point. What we're going to do is we're going to cut Charlie probably here-ish. We're going to get rid of all this stuff. We're going to put him on the chassis table and jig up the rear so it doesn't move. And we're going to redo the complete middle of this car. We're going to leave the front kind of alone because we don't have time to redo the whole front of it right now. That's, struts and remounting the motor and building the firewall and doing all this stuff, and it probably really needs that for what we're doing, but part of us do not want to let go of the front suspension and the firewall again because it makes the car a lot more versatile. We can race it anywhere, so we'll probably cut it around here, get rid of all this stuff in the middle while it's on the chassis table so neither of these pieces move, and then connect the two back together. So all this stuff's coming. And then also, when we're in here, there's a lot of like double layered metal behind the firewall. The column that's in it still bolts to like a factory style piece. We're gonna get rid of we're gonna do our master cylinder underneath the car, underneath the dash, like we do on all of our really nice cars. And just kind of make it like that. And then the plan is to have a thought of Brad's already going to figure out what he wants the engine location to be if we cut out the firewall. So that way, like our first event this year, we're going to try to go to lights out. The motor being forward on a radial deal and it having some extra weight on the front, not a big deal. Like that's going to work fine for us there. So if we get this thing done and it's still not light enough and we're like, man, we really need to do the front of it, but we could do the front in not that much more time. We could kind of take a break maybe mid-season and do that if we want. So the idea is to kind of think through it to where if we need to upgrade it more, we can. And I would encourage you for your build, right? Like if you're building something, like try to think it through, right? Like if you're building a car, a lot of guys that I see no prep, they automatically take the firewall out, they automatically do all this stuff, which makes a better race car. But if your budget isn't that unlimited class, well then you should start to think about keeping more of this stock stuff because then you can run other classes. It makes the car far more versatile. Right now it's the only car that we have to race. So, if we wanted to do more radial stuff or whatever, all these things just make it again more versatile. And as you guys can see, this thing's already pretty gutted. It's kind of really about ready to start cutting on. Eric Gash with Barely Able Racing came up, and he gutted all the wiring out of it. Him and Martin wired it before, so he wanted to pull the complete harness out of the car. He's going to make the harness even better. He's going to make it lighter. They wired it pretty quick for us, so there's a lot to be desired there, and we can lose a little bit of weight. Then you can see this is all the factory stuff. It's just double layered. We'll cut all this out. We'll get us all down to a single layer of metal. All this extra in the roof, like, that makes the roof less floppy. We're going to get rid of that, so the roof will probably be really floppy. And then you can just see, like, all this metal in the pillars. There's metal up there in the roof. All that needs to go. And then basically we'll probably have to cut a little bit of this tin out that we put in, and then we'll do like a carbon driver floor, carbon passenger floor, and then this side will be regular tin, bead rolled. So we're gonna make Charlie really, really nice, and then we'll go forward if we have to. But if we can get it light enough to where, you know, we feel like we're in a good spot, then we may not touch the front end ever. You know, it just depends. And you know, we talked about different combos, stuff like that. But as fast as we've been with this nitrous combo at the weight that we've been racing at, if we can get this thing 300 or 400 pounds lighter than what it is right now, man, we're already in the hunt, but we'll really be where we need to be. And I think everybody would like to see a nitrous car be really ultra competitive on the front side stuff. And so that's the plan. Ricky's gonna, well, I don't know how many videos this is gonna be. If you followed along with us and did that blue car deal, it's kind of gonna be similar to that. We'll take stuff off, we'll weigh it for you. And then when we put it all back together, we'll know how much we got out of it, and I'm gonna keep eating salads.